Veronica Lake was a legend, known for her iconic peekaboo hairstyle, femme fatale roles in film noir, and her epic beauty. However, with financial and mental ruin, her fame also became her biggest curse. But what was the real reason why she escaped Hollywood? Why exactly did she refuse a relationship with any of her children? Follow us through this video as we uncover the tragic details of the life and career of Veronica Lake. Her childhood. Veronica Lake had the start that most children dream about in life, and many people argue that this was exactly what corrupted her life. She was born to parents who lavished her with love and attention, and they enjoyed a happy home until her father decided to move back to New York from Florida. Lake was only 5 years old when this happened, and it taught her just how cruel life could get. Her father used to work for an oil company as a ship employee, but shortly after they made that trip back to New York, he was involved in an explosion and he died on the spot. Lake was heartbroken, but her mother had another strong compensation for her. A year after the explosion, she remarried, this time to newspaper staff artist Anthony Keene. Her mother's new marriage gave her the name Constance Keene. Veronica's window into the acting industry came while she was still in school, but it would all start to happen after she was expelled. For reasons that the actress refused to reveal, St. Bernard's School, an all-girls Catholic boarding school, forced her out of their school. And unfortunately, this was also the time when her stepfather was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and it was becoming a never-ending nightmare for the young actress. However, as the family moved to Miami for better health facilities, it became the silver lining to Lake's tragic childhood story. While in her new school, the young actress received many compliments about her beauty, which motivated her mother to get creative about exploiting Veronica's beauty for money. The first thing she did was to register her in the popular Bliss Hayden School of Acting in Hollywood, and a few months later, she secured a contract with MGM. Her first role was as an extra cast in the 1939 American film Sorority House, but her parts were deleted before the movie was released. Lake was disappointed, but she was also encouraged to continue. And that was how she was able to secure other small roles, from Dancing Co-Ed to 40 Little Mothers. Her first big role was going to come with the 1942 I Wanted Wings, but the producer had some very personal thing he wanted from her. He asked for her name to be changed from Constance Keene to Veronica Lake. According to him, her eyes were calm and clear, like a blue lake. This was hard for Veronica at first, but her mother convinced her to do it, and she did. Luckily, she would not regret it. I Wanted Wings was released, and it delivered way more than it had promised to the actress. Lake was called the Find of 1941, and the young actress's story kept getting even better. The film was so successful that a single scene was all Veronica needed to be catapulted into the limelight. During filming, her long blonde hair accidentally fell over her right eye, and that was what created the peekaboo effect. But even this, as beautiful as it was, became the beginning of what slowly turned into a nightmare for Veronica. Nobody warned her about the dangers of fame, and this was how Lake waltzed into the snares of the industry's predators. Early marriage. Being projected into the spotlight as a charming and talented woman meant that Lake had to learn how to keep up with multiple proposals from men in the industry. Even more importantly, she had to learn to tell the real from the dangerous and deadly. But she failed, and that is why she had many regrets. Veronica Lake's first marriage was to art director John Detley in 1940. She was only 18 at the time, and John was almost 2 decades her senior. According to popular rumors, the actress only agreed to this marriage because she was impressed at how much he had achieved in the industry at the time. She had hoped that he would rub off some of the industry magic in her career. We all had our doubts, but we still wished them well. The only thing that would convince Veronica that her marriage was cursed was after the delivery of her first son. Lake's first son was born prematurely after she tripped on a lightning cable during filming. The boy only survived for a few days, and this was the beginning of a downward spiral for the actress. Before this time, she had given birth to her daughter, Elaine, and after the death of her son, the only thing that Lake wanted was to escape this marriage with her child. The union lasted for just 3 years, and by December 1943, they divorced. The following year, Lake married film director Andre de Toth, and she had 2 more children with him, Andre Anthony, Michael III, and Diana. Unfortunately, having both children alive didn't stop Lake from getting another divorce, but their romance lasted for 8 years, making it the longest one she ever had. Veronica was already struggling as an actress by the time she met songwriter Joseph A. McCarthy. This was exactly 3 years after she got divorced from Andre. They tied the knot in September 1955, but their marriage ended after 4 years. According to Lake, the real reason behind their fallout was that McCarthy always made the worst financial decisions, and she blamed him for her poverty in the later years of her career. Her last marriage was to Robert Carlton Monroe. Robert was a sea captain, and this was because Lake believed love to be easy outside the industry. But she was wrong. Their marriage still ended after 4 years, and this was it for the actress. She was done looking for love, even if with her children. Relationship with her children. Lake could be anything you wanted her to be on the screens, but the real burden came with motherhood. As hard as she tried to not be like a mother, Veronica made mistakes that would haunt her even after her death. The actress had 4 children, yet she never had a relationship with any of them. In her autobiography, Lake confessed that she simply did not know how to relate to them. This was because she didn't believe they could be trustworthy, and then she was not ready to go through the mother-daughter saga her mother made her go through. So, to protect them from herself, she created a rift that continued until her death. Behind the scenes. According to co-stars and producers who worked with Veronica Lake, the only time the actress was truly human was before her rise to fame. They claimed that she had a very serious attitude problem whenever the camera stopped rolling. During the filming of the movie that gave her the stage, I Wanted Wings, Lake refused to answer phone calls so many times that director Mitchell Leeson punished her by making her stay on set for an entire day, even when she was not actively shooting. The movie was a success, and her excesses were quickly forgotten, but the studio directors were once again reminded of who she truly was after they cast her in Sullivan's Travels. This was when Veronica was married to John and 6 months pregnant. To fulfill her contract demands, Lake would try to deceive the producer and everyone else about her protruding stomach until she ran out of excuses. The producer figured it out much later on, and things got heated up on set between them. Fortunately, they still managed to pull it off, and the movie delivered on budget. Lake's co-star, Joel McCrea, got popular for saying this about the actress: "Life's too short for 2 films with Veronica Lake." But with the death of her son, who was forcefully delivered after she tripped on set, Veronica hit an all-time low. She took a short hiatus, and during this time, she became a heavy alcoholic, and this became a major part of the reason why she lost her career. When she came back, she starred in the 1946 Miss Susie Slagles, which was not a very bad production. Her role brought her other contracts, like The Blue Dahlia, which is arguably one of her biggest career successes. In 1947, Lake did a movie outside Paramount, Ramrod, and it was a somewhat unpleasant experience for her. Her second husband, Andre de Toth, was the director, and he forced her to share scenes with Joel McCrea even after all the mean things he said about her. The movie was a major hit, but following this was a storm of tragedies for the actress. By 1948, Paramount decided that they did not want her anymore, and 2 years later, Veronica and de Toth lost their homes to the IRS for unpaid taxes. They even filed for bankruptcy. When she couldn't take it anymore, she divorced her husband, blaming him for her misfortunes. But even with Andre out of the picture, Veronica still struggled. She had 3 more divorces, and it was around this time that she started getting arrested for public drunkenness and disorderly conduct. It was hard, but it just seems that Veronica Lake never did recover from her baby's death. She became a waiter. Things got so terrible for the actress that in 1962, a New York Post journalist found her waitressing at the Martha Washington Hotel. She was using a fake name, and it was a job so she doesn't starve. Her news made rounds on the internet, and it became so obvious that becoming Veronica Lake was much more of a curse than it was a blessing. A few concerned fans sent her money and gifts, but what the actress did afterward made them worry even more about her mental condition. Lake sent back every single penny that was sent to her except for the check of $1,000 that her previous lover, Marlon Brando, sent her. And even that check was never cashed. The actress framed it and headed up for display for every one of her friends to see. For some reason, Lake decided to make one final attempt at Hollywood after so many years, but she forgot the most important detail about her journey into show business. The major thing that gave her the stage was her beauty. She was in her 40s now, and all those years of hard drinking had made her look completely different. We learned even more about the severity of Veronica Lake's story when she was up for a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She was 47 at the time, and only 3 people showed up. Her silver lining. But it was not all bad news with the actress because, at some point in her career, Lake proved that she had the heart we all imagined for her. She was just trapped in a world that she struggled to interpret. During World War II in 1944, women refused to stop wearing their peekaboo hairstyle to factories until Lake almost got in trouble with the government. The hairstyle, which featured long hair that covered an eye, was considered a safety hazard for factory workers, and the government had to beg Lake to intervene to avoid future accidents. With her influence, Veronica turned her peekaboo into a double cornrow, a style more suitable for factory workers. She then appeared in many government-sponsored adverts to further reinforce what she preached. Lake was also popular for traveling through the United States during the war to raise money for war bonds. Her death. Veronica Lake was able to write and promote her autobiography before she died in 1973. The book provided an inside look to the life and career of the actress, and the world praised her for being so sincere. Unfortunately, it was as she was trying to get her message to as many people as she could that death came for her. While passing through Vermont, Lake had terrible stomach pains, so she decided to place her book tour on hold for proper medical examinations. Doctors discovered that she had cirrhosis of the liver because of all those many years of drinking. She was referred to the University of Vermont Medical Center in Burlington. Veronica Lake died there on July 7, 1973, of acute hepatitis and kidney failure. Her son Michael claimed her body, and very few people attended her memorial service, which was held at the Universal Chapel in New York City on July 11th. Her ashes were stored at a funeral home in Burlington, Vermont, but this was after it was locked away for almost 3 years because of legal troubles between her children. Some blogs write that she had unpaid loans at the time of her death, and that was why her remains were confiscated. Anyway, by March 1976, all legal issues were resolved, and a few friends took her ashes to Florida to scatter them along the coast of the Virgin Islands as she had wished. Veronica might not have always been the best people wanted her to be, but we can't deny the warmth she sparked up in our hearts. Her legacy continues in the projects she featured and the many lives she touched. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other videos of beautiful actresses from the yesteryears.